Hello, thanks for joining us on Channel 5 News. I'm Joe.
And I'm Akila, and today we will be discussing the current state of the economy. Since the end of 2011, the U.S. economy has been going downhill.
At the moment, our economy is in a recovery. For average Americans, this means that it's doing well, but not the best. People may think that we're still in a recession only because we just came out of one a few years ago. However, with things like oil prices and the unemployment rate going up, many Americans have had difficulties making ends meet.
From this chart, you can see that in the first quarter of 2012, the U.S. GDP has decreased by 2.2%. Now let's see what the average American thinks about the economy.
My name is Joe Clark, and we're going to interview Ms. McGrath about the state of the economy.
I think the economy is not at its greatest right now. I mean, if you turn on the TV, every headline, it seems, is bad news, but you know, it's a cycle, and what goes down is going to come up.
I really can't say.
I'm always pretty mindful about what's going on. I think just everyone should just be a little bit more conscious about their spending habits, and you know, I'm not really much of a frivolous spender to begin with, but I'm a little bit more aware of my spending habits.
It really hasn't affected me too badly. Probably the biggest part, worst part would be student loans.
Like I said, I'm pretty conservative by nature, but I did recently make a big purchase, so I was saving a lot for a house, so I took advantage of the state of the real estate market, so I was saving a lot for that.
From my own experience, I'm really just still saving money and spending on things I want to spend on. So in terms of change, I really haven't changed anything based on the economy.
Current economic indicators are unemployment rate, CPI, and real GDP. The unemployment rate is currently at 8.1%, which is pretty high. It can be significantly lower, however. For average Americans, this means that finding a job will be very difficult. Employers are not doing well enough to hire more people. This leaves a lot of people struggling to make a living for themselves. A healthy unemployment rate would be around 4%. We, as a country, need to work to create more jobs to lower this rate. Therefore, the job market is getting smaller.
If finding a job is hard for average Americans, it will be even more difficult for the minorities. The unemployment rate for teenagers is even worse. For teenagers, the unemployment rate is always at least 10% higher. Unemployment is a major problem in our economy for every citizen, and most are being affected by this. More people need to be employed, and jobs need to be created to help our economy recover and expand from our previous hardships.
Like I said, I've kind of just been more aware, and I've certainly seen other people with losing their jobs, so it is difficult. You know, it's a tough situation, but personally, I fared pretty well.
No, I was not.
Well, there's always going to be some degree of unemployment. It's a natural part of the economy. You're never going to have 100% unemployment. And a lot of people, not only are they unemployed, there's a greater number of people who are underemployed, so people who can't get full-time jobs or the type of jobs that they have maybe studied for. So I think it's a scary situation.
It's sad. I wish more people could have these jobs.
A possible cause for the economy we are in is that people are being lent money who shouldn't be, because they can't afford it. Mortgage brokers are luring people into investing in houses. People who normally wouldn't buy an expensive house are now taking out loans from banks because mortgage brokers are deceiving people into believing that houses are now the best investments. However, when they realize how expensive the house actually is, they are stuck in debt. They will want to spend less to save more. By spending less, production companies produce less. By producing less, workers are being laid off. By workers being laid off, there is less spending, and the business circle goes on and on.
Yes, absolutely. You know, people love to talk about that. When I was younger, this cost that. That's just something that tends to happen. But just yesterday, I was having a conversation with someone about the cost of a stamp, which is, I think, 47 cents now or 42 cents. So something as minimal as that is happening. A lot of different things. I definitely think the spending habits of our our government and the way they decide to allocate our resources. I think that has to be looked at. You know, tax cuts, that's everyone's favorite topic, but I think it's a much more complicated, layered issue than we like to think of.
One great idea I've heard in middle school is to make economics a required course in high school. So you understand spending, money, credit cards, what kind of credit cards, or what credit can do, what credit debt can be like, if you're not aware of it. At this point, I would say save. Save the money as best as you can.
Now introducing the Moneymaker.
Oh my goodness, Joe, I'm falling so behind on my mortgage.
Really? I have the perfect thing for you.
What?
I'll show you. You just come over here, type in what you want. I type in money most of the time. Press enter. And voila! The Moneymaker does it for you. Here you go.
Oh my goodness, where did you get this?
I got it at my local Best Buy.
Wow, I'm going to get one now.
Alright, good luck with your mortgage.
Thanks, Joe.
No problem. Breaking news. Making money is now legal. To purchase the Moneymaker, call 732-372-5555. The Moneymaker is now available for 4 small payments of just $99.99. Moneymaking is limited to $100 per day to prevent runaway inflation. The Moneymaker is now available at your local electronics store.
The biggest issue that led to the recession of our economy in 2008 to 2009 was irresponsibility. Americans are spending money that they simply do not have. An example of this is in the housing market. Investment bankers, lenders, and investors ran out of mortgages because everybody who was qualified for a mortgage already had one. Therefore, they created subprime mortgages, which lowered the standards needed to get a mortgage. Even people who had no proof of an income were qualified. This allowed many Americans to get a mortgage and purchase very large houses which they could not originally afford. Everything was fine for a while, but when people started defaulting and houses were being foreclosed, everybody lost money and the housing market crashed. This crisis would have never occurred if homeowners, bankers, and investors made more responsible decisions.
Long story short, when it comes to moving forward in a period of recovery, the most effective solution would be to think decisions through, be wise, and be aware of consequences that will come from decisions that are made. It is important that Americans remember what they can afford and what they just can't have, in order to avoid situations such as foreclosure. Smart decisions are the largest factor in successfully recovering our economy. Over to you, Arun and Akila.
Thanks, Joe. This recent recession that our country has been in has caused many problems for all of us. Although many economists have different opinions on how the current state of the economy will change in the coming year, there are a few ways to make reasonable predictions. Looking at the GDP, CPI, and unemployment rates can help you. For example, in April of 2012, the CPI change was 0.0%, which is unhealthy. We want a steady CPI with little to no change. In this survey, most people agree that 2012 is currently not doing very well. However, 58% of people surveyed believe that 2013 will do better. This year, people are trying to save as much money as they can to have a sense of security in their lives. This will encourage people to spend more money in 2013, which will make businesses produce more products and services. When businesses make more money, wages increase and employment goes down, since businesses will need to hire more employees. Even though our economy is on its way to the peak, we shouldn't see any major changes in the upcoming year. My name is Akila. And I'm Arona, and this is Channel 5 News. Thanks for watching.